You know, sometimes the projects you don't like have a tendency as you work with them to grow on you. I don't know why that is, but it does happen. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, August the 5th, 2024, and this is vlog number 370, and hope everybody had a good weekend. Here in Canada, for most provinces, it is a long weekend. Here in Ontario, we used to call it the Civic Holiday Weekend. I think it's now referred to as Lord Simcoe, and the other provinces have various names for this as well if they take this weekend off. And I think there's only maybe one or two provinces that don't. Not sure about that. But anyways, when you're retired, every weekend is a long weekend. So let's get on with what I have been working on. And yeah, I've been making some headway on those quilts that I've had piled up on my long arm, and this is one of them. Tomorrow I'll be talking about these in a little bit more detail because I have some fun stories about my Lucy. That's my long arm, for those of you new to the channel. That's her name. She came with that name. And I'll be talking about these more extensively, but right now this is just a little taste of what I've been up to. So Christmas, yeah, you know, it's not that far away. I know, scary, right? So got to get those Christmas projects done, and this is one that I've got under my belt. This was a panel, and this one was okay to do. I had some templates I had to create for the trees, that kind of thing, and I don't enjoy doing that. But overall, this turned out okay. And this one is one of my own designs, and it's starting to grow on me because I didn't really like it at first, and I will tell you why about that in more detail tomorrow. But it is also done, and I call this one Canada Crossroads. And then this one I've had the top done for quite some time. It's called Stephanie's Ninja Stars. The block was designed by Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches, and I liked the block so much I decided to make a lot of them and make a quilt. And this is a fairly big quilt, and I've got it now quilted, bound, it's all done, and I liked how it turned out. So those are the things that I have been up to in the last week, and that takes me then to the YouTube video of the week. And for those of you that are 3D printing enthusiasts, as I am, there's tons of things on the internet that are keeping us up to date with what the future of 3D printing is. And believe me, 3D printing has overwhelmed industry, and they're experimenting with all kinds of materials and bigger, better machines and other applications. And so on this particular video clip, they talk about something that's very fascinating. You know the replicator on the Star Trek Enterprise? You know, Earl Grey tea, hot, boom, you've got it. Well, that isn't, I don't think, that far distant into the future for us. Now, we don't have it yet, but they do have something where they use light to actually produce a 3D image, like print it out, a 3D image in some sort of a solution. But anyways, this video clip, if you're into this kind of really high-tech nerdy stuff, might be appealing to you. So here's my review of that. This week's YouTube video clip is one about 3D printing, but the direction 3D printing is taking for the future, and not that far into the future. This particular video comes from the 3D printing nerd, and I've talked about his channel before, and I'm a regular subscriber because anything I want to know about the innovations in 3D printing, he has it. And this is one that comes out of a lab at Berkeley University in California, and they're actually using light that takes an image and suspends it in a liquid, and the liquid is photosensitive, and it creates the 3D model. Now, this is all a prototype and experimental at the moment, but give it another year or so, and this may become the new trend in 3D printing. So I suggest you check out this video clip to see what it is that I'm talking about, because I really can't explain how it works either, because it's very, very scientific. But if you're into this kind of thing, you're going to want to see this particular video. And you will find the link for that in the show notes below. You'll also find a link for Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, our regular Wednesday event. You'll find links for a couple of my free patterns, ones that I have designed, and links to all my friends' YouTube channels as well. And if you haven't checked those out, and especially if you're a quilter or a sewer, it's a must-do. You won't be disappointed. And there's a link to all my videos from last week as well. So lots of things for your viewing pleasure. Okay, so that takes me to what the world is looking like outside, and it is not pleasant. And as I speak, as you can see here, yes, it is dull and gray. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. It is very, very overcast. There is rumbling of thunder in the background. I haven't checked the forecast to see, is this a passing storm or what? But you can see, because the walkway is wet, kind of looks like scene from a horror movie, doesn't it, here? But yes, we have had some rain. I don't know if it's currently raining right now. Now, the one reason why this picture is so dark and gray is because there's no sunlight. The days are getting shorter. Hard to believe. And it is early. It's 6:34 in the morning when I'm recording this. Not that early, but there you go. It's, moist out and dark. The other thing is then my camera, my Ring camera, goes to, night vision mode. And so because there's not enough sunlight out there right now, that's why it's looking very gray. Hopefully this isn't going to last all day, although, we can use the rain. And what I'm really hoping is that this rain is hitting out west where the forest fires are and down into Southern California. Any place where there's a forest fire, I hope they're getting lots of rain, because it's ridiculous, isn't it? That we've been having, like, every year, it's an annual event, to the point where they now call it fire season, wildfire season. So we have a 5th season now. Is this climate change? Most people would say probably yes. I don't know. I'm not a naysayer about climate change. I definitely think we as human beings have wrecked this planet. However, sometimes you also have to wonder, is it a cycle? It's just that some cycles are like longer than we've been recording cycles in the weather. Maybe, maybe not. Either way, people are losing their homes, being evacuated. We're losing all kinds of valuable forested area. So I'm hoping that the rain is getting to those parts that definitely need it. Okay, so that's our weather for today. And that takes me to what's pissing me off. Well, it's not so much that I'm pissed off about it. It's actually, age. Okay? I'm getting up there. I don't like to admit it, but I am. I mean, I don't consider myself an old man, but I am an old man by consideration of people much younger than me. I mean, I'm not 70 yet, but that's scary. Yeah, because it's looming on the horizon. I mean, I just turned 67. How'd that happen? But, I can't go backwards in time. Until somebody invents a time machine, can't do much about that. I can't reverse the aging process. So, I just have to embrace it, right? We all have to embrace it. No sense crying over it. We can't do anything about it. Why waste our time crying over something we can't change? What time we have left, we've got to make useful. Well, people asked me when I was going to retire, and I've been retired now for 12 years. And they said, what are your plans for retirement? Now, that is a common question that people ask people who are about to retire. And the common answer is, I'm going to travel. I'm going to spend more time with my hobbies. I'm going to spend more time with my children, my grandchildren. I'm going to go for long walks. Going to lay down on a couch and watch television all day and then die. Well, yeah. When people ask me that question, I told them I had a plan. I was going to become and perfect being a cranky old man. Yes, a cranky old man. Now, there are many people who said I've been a cranky old man my whole life. Well, what do they know? That just gets me cranky. No, really, but seriously, being a cranky old man has its benefits, okay? If you go into a crowded store, a grocery store, let's say, and you have a scowl on your face, people scurry out of your way very quickly. You have the great pleasure of scaring little children. And you know, they're the little buggers who are down the aisle, there's not a parent in sight, and they're throwing stuff off the shelves, and they're riding around on some little cart or something that the parents have given them to keep them out of trouble. It does the reverse, and they're under your foot. If you've got a scowl on your face and you look like you're a man with a mission, even little kids run back to their parents. So that's a benefit to being a cranky old man. Okay? Another thing, while I'm talking about the grocery store, is the express line. Now, we've all been there. You know, the express line says 8 items or less. And there's always somebody just ahead of you in the line who has 12 or 15 items. Now, okay, and you've heard me say this before, if you've been a regular. 2 green peppers count as 2 green peppers or 2 items. They do not count as 1 item because they're both of the same species or group. There is no categorizing at the express line. 2 green peppers are 2 green peppers. If it is a package of 2 green peppers in one bag, oh, I don't know how that happened, but party, then yes, that counts as 1 item. You know, those pre-packaged packages of, like, you get 4 peppers, 1 of every color. In that's 1 item. But if the peppers are loose, the number you have count as individual items. All right? And now, many times I've stood in that line and went, in my head, can you not read? The sign says 8 or less. Did you fail math in school? How many fingers on your hand? Can you count to at least 5? It's just 3 more on the other hand. And you want to, say this to them. But in polite society, we don't. But as a cranky old man, I could, and I'd get away with it. I could sit there and mumble and put that scowl on my face and go, what's the matter? Can't you goddamn read the sign that says 8 items? You've got 10. I don't know. In my day when I went to school, I learned how to count to 10. Did you not do that, you young buggers today? And the whole bit. And you want to know something? They'll probably turn around to you. They may give you a nasty look, but they may also say, oh, I'm sorry, sir. Would you like to go ahead of me? Damn right I would. And if I had a cane in my hand, it would be even more effective because you could threaten them with the cane. That's another thing. That's an accessory line for cranky old men. In fact, maybe what I'll do is I'll open up an Etsy store and have accessories for cranky old men. And it would include things like a dirty sweater with holes in it, possibly a battered old hat, canes in assorted sizes, maybe some with lethal tips on the end of them. Who knows? And a book on how to get your hands to look like you're old and decrepit and got claws. Just saying, could be an industry. So, that's a couple of the benefits of being a cranky old man. The other thing, too, as a cranky old man, if you shuffle a little bit, and the cane would help here as a visual, prop, and you get to a door, people will hold the door open for you. And as you go through, just to continue the whole persona of the cranky old man, you don't thank them. You just shuffle through the door and go, "Rrr." And they'll probably just say, you're welcome. So, yeah, that's another feature of being a cranky old man. Now, there are other features, too. Because you're a cranky old man, because you're old, people often think that they need to help you with other things like carry your groceries out of the grocery store, help you across the street. Oh, that would be fun. You want some entertainment? Get to a traffic light and try to cross the road, and some person will come, can you make it, sir? And they take your arm and start to help you cross. Then you can play with them. Get halfway there, the light has changed, the cars are waiting for you, and then go back the other way. Yeah, so as a cranky old man, you can play pranks on people for your own amusement. Oftentimes you can say things to people and get away with it that other people can't, like saying politically incorrect things, just to get a rise out of them, because they may grumble, oh, you can't say that, I can say any goddamn thing I want to say, kind of a deal. And you'll probably get away with it because they'll just excuse you for saying something insulting or politically incorrect because, well, he's just an old cranky old man. Okay, that could be fun too. Because, I get really tired of being politically correct all the time and having to watch every word I say. And as a cranky old man, I don't have to watch anything. They'll just explain it away as these oldie senile. What else can you do? Well, fashion. Let's talk fashion. You can wear whatever you want and get away with it. Because people just look at you and think, cranky old men, they don't know how to dress, they don't care. It's also, if the stuff looks bad enough, too, it also adds to the distancing element where people don't want to get near you because you might smell. That kind of thing. They'd expect that you smell because your clothes are a little bit not too fashionable, a little rough around the edges. It also helps to be a cranky old man to get seniors discounts. The seniors discounts, a lot of places offer that. Anywhere from the age of 55 to, some started at 65. They're the really cheap stores. But if you do not see it posted, doesn't mean you can't get it. As a cranky old man, you can demand a seniors discount and see how far you get. Because again, you got that scowl on your face, that cane in your hand, raggedy clothes. They'll just want to get you out of the store real quick and just give you a 15% discount or 10%, whatever it is. Seniors discount, no questions asked. And you can always keep yourself amused because you can walk up to anybody and talk to them as a cranky old man. You can start the conversation on anything. Combine that with not being politically correct in the whole bit, and you'll be surprised how people don't always just walk away from you because you've hit a note that they've been thinking about but have been afraid to say, so they're using you as their mouthpiece because people just excuse whatever comes out of a cranky old man's mouth as he's a cranky old man. That's just a cranky old man. So these people will go, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I get it. And then they'll often join in the conversation. So, you're never bored. You've got entertainment right there. So, yes. Oh, and one other thing about being a cranky old man, which goes along with the seniors discount. As a cranky old man, and I do this, if I'm not happy with a product or a service I get from a company, I have all the time in the world as a retired cranky old man to write emails and keep bugging companies until I get satisfaction. And you want to know something? That old adage, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, it works. I have been able to get freebies from various companies because I have complained. And they just want me out of their hair. So, that's maybe not something that's exclusive to cranky old men, but as a cranky old man that's retired, I have lots of time on my hands to pursue that avenue of complaint, and I get results. So, am I pissed off at being a cranky old man? No, I enjoy it. I cultivate it. It's my secret identity. It's my superpower, being a cranky old man. Until someday someone actually hits me with a car. Then I'm a dead cranky old man. Okay, so have I bought anything new? I just bought some embroidery supplies, nothing exciting, not going to bother showing you to it. It's just some rolls of stabilizer, general stuff you need when one does machine embroidery. And of course, as I mentioned earlier when I showed you the Christmas quilt, 'tis the season right now to start thinking about those little Christmas items you want to make, and a lot of those I do on my embroidery machine, so I'm stocking up on my supplies for that. Okay, so that takes me to things on the deck, how everything is growing. Well, first of all, this is under grow light number 1. We only have one grow light going right now, which is kind of sad. We have a bug problem, as you can see in the little sticky things. Again. Now, at first we thought they were fruit flies because we got some fresh peaches, we got some blueberries, things like that, and tomatoes that come in from the garden, and they're all attracted to those kind of things, so they come along with them. So we have various devices trying to kill them. We have little pots of water. Walter rigged up something out of a plastic bottle with some kind of solution in the bottom of it to catch them. They're not too bad. Today I've noticed that there's been a definite decrease in them, so whatever we're doing is working, or they're just not getting enough food and they're dying. But it drives me nuts. And one of the places they like to live is in our lettuce. That's right here. And so, we wash the lettuce thoroughly to get out the bugs in it. This is one of the disadvantages of growing things indoors under lights. Now, this is sad. This is grow light area number 3. This is where we have bigger things in a corner, and it's completely empty. We had some onions in there. Walter decided that they would probably do better outdoors, so he took the pots outdoors to let them do their thing out there. So this space is for rent. We'll have to figure out what we're going to put in there. We really need to get some stuff going from seed, because once, the things from seed take a while under the grow lights, and we like to have the lettuce and peppers and things throughout the winter months. So we've got to start doing something about planning what we're going to have in this area. Meanwhile, though, out on the deck, things are looking pretty good. You see some lettuce off to one side. That other plant where you see a little flick of red down there next to the lettuce, that's a hot pepper plant. And Walter picked one of those the other day, cut it up in little pieces, and I tried a little piece, and oh my goodness. I like things spicy, but my goodness, those are hot peppers for sure. Couldn't tell you what kind they are, but they're hot. The flower plant is just there because Walter likes to have some flowers out on the deck too, and that's doing really well. And I can't tell you what kind it is. He could. I never remember. A little more lettuce up the top, although looks like we need to go out there and pick off some of those brown leaves. The 2 barrel things, half barrel looking things, pots at the bottom, I think Walter, those had lettuce in them as well, different varieties of lettuce. We've eaten that, and I think Walter seeded it again, so we can hopefully get another crop out of those before the month is done or into the fall. The black things, those are tomatoes. They're called midnight tomatoes. And yeah, they're a little off-putting. In fact, they almost look like cherries, don't they? But they're not. They're tomatoes, and they're small tomatoes, and those ones are ready to eat. And we've been eating some of them, and besides the color, they taste just like a regular tomato. And here's looking down the green aisle. This year, things have not been as vibrantly green, I have noticed. Yellow leaves and things, and that could be because of the heat. Well, it probably is the heat. Walter waters these every day. And you can see we got cherry tomatoes coming. We do have some Roma tomatoes as well. This is a pepper plant as well. There's a pepper right there. They hide, green peppers. These ones are a little unusual, these peppers. They're not really like the bell-shaped pepper. I don't know. They're more elongated. There's probably a name for them. I don't know what it is. And you go down the line. So although things aren't really looking lusciously green, things are growing, and it's been the heat for the most part. I guess that's all the pictures that I have. I always miss it at the end of the season when all this stuff dies down and we don't have anything more we can pick from it. It's just, it would be nice if we could do this all year round, but we live in Canada. Not going to happen. Okay. So that's how our garden's growing. So let's talk about, can I print this 3D effing thing? Okay, saw this really fun puzzle. And, well, It sort of worked, it sort of didn't work, but I also made a few other puzzles. And that's the thing with 3D printers. There's all kinds of, if you're into puzzles, and I'm not talking about jigsaw puzzles, I'm talking about, devices that you open by twisting in certain ways or opening things up and stuff like that. There are a lot of those for 3D printing. Definitely will keep your children amused, but I'm going to show you a couple that I've already experimented a little bit with. So, one of the things that a lot of people like to make on a 3D printer are little puzzles or fidget toys, that kind of thing. And I have a sample here. Now, these are kind of hit and miss. It depends on the printer that you have. My printer, of course, is the Creality series. And yeah, I'm going to show you how successful these are. Now, this is a type of fidget one here, is a print in place. And basically, this is all it does. I was a little disappointed when I printed this out because I thought it looked like it would expand into sort of a globe thing, but it doesn't. It just does this. However, why I'm showing this to you is to show you how this was one piece printed and it does have flexibility. It didn't seize up. Again, you need to have your printer well leveled for something like this. This little thing here that were really popular back a year or so ago, these fidget spinners. And you can see again, this was all print in place, means it printed it in one piece. When I took it out, I had to kind of wiggle each of the wheels just to break them loose from the housing here. But it does work without too much of a problem. So that's a lot of fun. And, for little kids, keep their hands busy. Yeah. Now, these two things I saw the other day, let's get them in the shot a little better, and I thought these were cool, but I had a lot of problem printing these. My system did not seem to have the tolerance levels. Now, this one turned out pretty good, this one not so good. And the point of this is you basically have it, and it comes apart. It's called the twisty puzzle. And if this had the proper tolerances, I would be able to just simply push it down so that it comes right through with no problem. And actually, this one does, but it took a little while. I had to work it in. So yeah, that worked fairly well. Then this one, however, it's the same idea, little different print, but you can see I had some problems here with the printing of this one piece on the bottom, all of this. And I actually tried to, let's see if I can, yeah, there we go. I've got it unjammed. So yeah, it sort of works. It would have been better if I'd done this in a different color, the one inside, but that was part of my problem. This doesn't show up all that well when you, put it together. I'm testing out a new camera system here, so bear with me, please. But ideally, if this had printed properly, the tolerances have been good, it would just simply slide right up there, and this would become flush with the bottom, like this one is. This way. And it didn't. I'm not going to waste any more time printing these things. I just wanted to see what I could do with them. But there are tons of puzzles that if you're into puzzles, tons of these kinds of things on something like Thingiverse. That's where I get most of my models. And they're kind of fun to play with. And it's a great way to see how well your printer is set up. Just as a side note, some of the problems with making these kind of things is if they're a print in place, which means the whole thing, no assembly required, is done on the build plate. If the tolerance levels for your print head and nozzle and your bed are not well aligned, you won't have success because they'll stick and you can't pry them apart. Like that fidget spinner came out great with that. But as you saw with that twisty puzzle, as they call it, that one, tolerances were a little bit off. And I started printing one that was a giant one that was going to take about 2.5 days to print of one of those. And halfway through the print, my power went off. And although I have UPSs on it, for some reason they didn't kick in. And well, long story short, I couldn't save them. So I wasted a lot of filament on something, and I decided, yeah, is it really worth trying to do this again? No, it was not. Because for me, what am I going to do with it? I only printed them to see if I could. And now I know the answer to that, so moving on. So I don't know what I'm going to print next. Well, that's not true. I do. Way back, you'll probably remember I showed, and I'm talking probably 2 years ago, I showed these scrap buckets that I was making, and they're very, very popular amongst my friends and things like that. I'm low on my supply, so I think I may make a few of those to have as spares that I can give as gifts or something like that, because they're fun. But they do take a couple of days to print each one. Now, I started one the other day on one of my newest printers, and yeah, it printed for half a day and then it slid off the bed. So I have two theories why it did that, and I'm going to today experiment with those theories, so we'll see. Maybe next week I'll have something to show you from that little experiment. Okay, so that takes me to blasts from the past, old clips that I've made when I first started YouTube, being a YouTube creator. And back when I was a paper maker, one of the things I loved to make were albums and journals and things like that. And so this was one of my own unique designs. I called it the Byzantine album simply because of its design. And it's one of the first paper crafting projects that I did where I was sort of foreshadowing my future change into a quilter, because I did some sewing on this particular project as well. So I hope you enjoy this blast from the past.
Hi, here's my next album. Now, this album was completely done without any forethought really whatsoever. The only thing I thought about was the fact that I had seen somebody create a pocket using pattern paper and their sewing machine. Now, I don't know how to sew, but I do have a sewing machine. And so I thought, well, let's get it out and see what I can do. So I got out this old sewing machine, and it had some basic stitches and it did zigzag, and I got out the manual, and it took me about half an hour to figure out how to thread the stupid thing. And you know, why do they make holes in these things for people who have average size hands? You must have to have little microscopic fingers to get things threaded, and really good eyesight. And I do not have small fingers, and I do not have good eyesight. So that's probably why it took me half an hour to thread the machine. But once I got it threaded, I started experimenting with it, figured out how to do a straight stitch and how to do a zigzag. And from there, I created this album. Now, I created this album on the whole thing from beginning to end in an afternoon on a Saturday. I just sort of went with the flow. So here it is, and it's a 6x6 album. And what I did was I had this neat pattern paper, and so I started with the cover. And if you've seen some of my previous videos, you know how I like to laminate with layers my covers for my albums to make them a little stiffer. I did not do that with this one because this paper was fairly stiff to start with. All I did was I put two pieces of it together. Actually, I cut a 12x6 strip, because it was a 12x12 sheet of paper, folded in half this way, and then I just stitched it with a zigzag across the top. Now, the one problem I have with the zigzag is it tells you in the sewing book, and if I knew how to sew, this would probably have been a lot easier, you can do a back stitch. But I thought that looked kind of messy with the zigzag, so I did try that, didn't like it, so I pulled that out, just did a straight zigzag, and then just to keep the ends from unfraying, I took a little bit of goldy yellow stickles and just put it on the ends of each of these corners on both sides, and it dries it, holds it, and you can't really see with this paper. It blends right into it. So for the cover, I used my Cricut, took another piece of the paper, cut it out, used a black ink pad, and just went around to give it a little outline. Cut another matching shape in a coordinating paper, stamped a butterfly. Those of you who see my previous videos know that I'm a little obsessed with butterflies when it comes to decorative elements. I don't know why, I just like them. and put that in the center. And then for the treatment here, I used my cinch to bind everything when I was done and added these ribbons to the sides. So inside. Same technique with the paper, folded it in half, but in this case, instead of doing a zigzag with it, because I wasn't making this particular page into a pocket, and I used the zigzag on the other one just as a decorative element, I just glued them together. And again, cut out this shape, more coordinating paper in the center. This whole album just has places for pictures and journaling, whatever the user would like to do. Backside, similar thing. Now here's the pocket idea. And what it is, again, I took a 12 by 6 inch piece of this paper that I cut, folded it in half, and then I zigzag stitched it along the edge. And I used black on this one because I didn't really want the stitching to show up as an element, although you can see it, but it created this neat little pocket, and it's very secure. Then I took a round punch and just on the half cut out the little piece here so it's easy to get into. And then I created these tags. Again, I didn't put a lot of thought into this. I just let it happen. And so I just went to this paper pack. All this paper came from the same paper pack. I don't know what it's called. Doesn't matter. I know people on these videos are always telling you what manufacturer is of the paper, what paper pack it's from. But you know, usually you can't find those again, or you don't remember the name anyways. So, you know, I just grab what I like, and there we go. So I cut out these tags, two different styles. This one had a little point kind of a thing to it. This one's more of a scallop out of that paper. I didn't really sit down and plan where I was going to have the graphics that came on the paper. I just let it do its thing. On the back, it's blank, single layer. You can write whatever you want on it, put pictures on it, and then put in some ribbon in the holes, and presto, bingo, done. And they fit in here. Now, yeah, they fit in here if I put them in correctly. Okay, open this up. So they go in here, and I'll let them hang out a little bit because, again, you know, the ribbon's hanging outside of the book when it's closed up, I think is kind of nice. It's decorative. So really, this is all, these pages are what are repeated in here. There's the one I showed you before that's just glued together. Now this is the third type of page that I created. I thought it needed a little bit more variety. So I took a piece of this paper, which is cut 12 by 6, fold it down, fold it in half, fold it one flap, or did I fold this in half? No. This one is not folding. It's a 6 by 12. Yeah, I can't remember now. Okay. I'll run a video to show you how to make this, but this is pretty basic, so I'm sure anybody can do it without much instruction. So it's a flap, folded it over, glued it down along this edge. This edge didn't need to because it's already cinched up. Creates a pocket, cut out a shape that I thought kind of was reminiscent of that shape out of that paper, and inside put in a framey background plate, used the ink pad again to ink it, folds up, there. You can use it for journaling, you can use it for pictures, whatever. Same on this side. Okay, and I glued these two pieces together just to make them more substantial. Here we go with the pocket again, tags. Same as what I said before, just notice these tags have not been stuck in there properly. And just repeated this. So I think this album has a total of about 12 pages total. And there you go, and there's this time with the pocket again, same shape. Like I said, didn't take a lot of thought, didn't take a lot of time, but completed a nice little album, cinched it all up, and there you go. So, that was an afternoon project. Didn't take a lot of thought. Learned something new, how to sew pockets together using the sewing machine. I also have a serger, and I'm going to try learning how to use that serger and see what I can do on paper with it. So, there you go. Hope you like it.
So that takes me to events in the past week, and on Saturday, this past Saturday, we had a pop-up sew day. I think at the height of it, we had around 30 people. It was lots of fun. People got a lot done. I know I got a lot done that day as well. And of course, we were enabling each other left and right. This time it was a couple of different patterns that I found that I got, and I may talk about those more on future episodes of the Idiot Quilter. But overall, it was a great time. It always is. And, well, when will be the next one? I don't know. But I will have another one before August is done. I'm pretty sure of that, maybe in a couple of weeks' time. But stay tuned, and I will reveal the date for that when I have it figured out. Also, way down the road, I'm getting into the beginnings of planning my fall retreat. I have an idea for presenters. I need to approach those people to see if I can get them for this. And yeah, I'll probably at the end of the month, end of August, start talking about it. It will be in October. I haven't settled on the date exactly, but I think it'll probably be the Saturday after Canadian Thanksgiving, wherever that falls. It's somewhere around the middle of October. But stay tuned. I will be letting you know for sure, well in advance, when everything is happening, what's going on, and how you register for that. And that is always a free event. And it fills up very quickly. I can handle like about 90 some people at that, and I always fill up really quickly. But as I said, I won't be making any announcements about that until either the end of this month or probably about the first week of September. So that's just way down the road. Not really. Look how fast we're in August already, aren't we? So what's coming up? Well, nothing really, except that Walter and I may be going into the city, into Toronto, to the Royal Ontario Museum, or as we refer to it in Canada as the ROM, because they've got a special quilt display happening. And apparently these are quilts that are from their archives, so they're historical. And so I think we may go to that. And actually, that may be next week at some point. We'll see. We haven't made definite plans yet. We're waiting on a couple of other people to find out what they want to do, because we might go in with a couple of the people that Walter is part of Walter's sewing group with that. So if we do, I'll be taking pictures and I'll be presenting that on the Idiot Quilter. Okay, so I think that's it for me today. I hope you're going to have an enjoyable week. I hope the heat isn't getting to you. I hope you're not in the middle of wildfires and anything like that. And if you are, I hope you're safe, and I hope those get under control and you get rain, lots of rain, not to the point of flooding, but lots of rain to, what? Finish it. I mean, yeah. Anyways, words fail me right now. Okay, that's it for me. We'll see you later. Bye for now.